Hey YouTube, Roketree here, back with my Swordsoul deck profile. This is what I brought to locals this week, and I actually topped locals with this. It's a really fun deck. I like that it can play so well into boards going second. It's got a lot of ways with the Ecclesia and the Tenyis to just kind of break through boards, but it's also great for starting with. And I like that in a deck that can just in engine go second really well without sacrificing the power of going first. So this is a really neat deck. I thought I'd show it off. And with that, let's get into it. First, the Swordsoul. We've got 3 Moye. Your best starter, just normal reveal, summon a token, catch me at my girl's funeral. If you know, you know. Then we've got 3 Longwan. This is probably your best extender because it just gets you a level 10 synchro, which unfortunately we don't have Barone anymore, but still Chengying and Evil Longwan are both super good interruptions. Plus, great for time. Just burn your opponent for 12, and that's just the end of it. 2 Taya. I used to play 3 Taya because I really like the idea of being able to foolish a worm. I thought that was really useful. Now at this point, I'm like, it is much more of a follow-up card, but it is a very powerful card. Definitely, like, emergence into Taya is still very strong, and it lets you get to multiple synchros. And then we've got the 3 Incredible Ecclesia. This card is just crazy. It's 3 more copies of your Moye or Taya, and going second, it just helps so much because if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can just special from your hand. So you just get to start your plays without your normal summon, which is huge. So if your opponent stops your combos, you can just normal summon a Moye or a Taya and just get started from there. It's just super nice. That's one of the main reasons that the deck can go second so well. Yeah, so that is the Swordsoul part. Then we have our Tenyis. We have 3 Ashana, 3 Adhara, and 3 Vishuddha. These are really good for going second and going first, but Ashana or Vishuddha can get you to Ashana can get you to Vishuddha, and Vishuddha bounces opponent's cards, and so it's just super nice to get those early on in your combo to bait out negates. Plus, Ashana Adhara or Ashana Vishuddha gets you into your Chichao, so you can get into your Swordsoul half of the deck going first. So that's super nice. I am not playing the Shathana, the blue one. I know some people play that one for the level 4 Tenyi. It is sometimes nice, but not nearly as often because I'm not playing the the Heavenly Dragon Circles to Tribute a Worm, Search a Worm. That is a lot more useful with that one to like dodge your Moye out with the spell, and then search your blue so you can just special summon it. But without that line in particular, it doesn't feel super necessary. I felt pretty good playing 3, 3, and 3. I know some people play slightly less on the Vishuddha or the Adhara sometimes, but the 3, 3, 3 felt pretty good. It never felt like I was drawing too many Tenyis, even if I drew like one of each. That's completely fine because you just get into your Chi with this line. Or if you know that your opponent's on Nibiru, you can go into the, what is it, Chaofeng? Yeah, into your Baxia into Chaofeng for lights, so you can't get Nibiru'd then. And this is all without your normal summons, so then you can just like normal your Moye and get crazy. So yeah, that's the Tenyis. That is all of the monsters. I believe it's 20 monsters. That was, I never felt like I was drawing too many monsters. So then for spells, we're on 3 Emergence, 1 Summit. I do like Summit. I know some people maybe don't play Summit, but I do like it for sometimes for going second for follow-up, but also often if you draw like your Longwan and a Moye or something like that with a worm, you can start with your Longwan and then just summon back the Moye. So you can go into your evil Longwan and then draw a card off the Chixiao Synchro plus the Moye draw. So I do like that aspect of it too. Obviously, triple emergence, just search any Swordsoul, or if you already synchroed, you just get to search any worm. Notably, I do not have a Protoss yet. I do need to pick one of those up because that's a big thing that you can search off of emergence for just a huge interruption guy. But I don't right now, but emergence is still crazy card, can get you into any of your starters, or if you've already started, get you into any of your interruption, into your good worms. Even like if you're still mid combo, you can get into a Vashuda to like out your opponent's stuff, or just any of your extenders. And then for the last spell, I'm playing 3 Pot of Desires. This card is kind of interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Desires because I don't like the randomness of getting rid of a quarter of your deck, but it does give you a lot of advantage. And with Cheng Ying, it's just so good. If you can make Cheng Ying first, it's really good because you can just trigger it to banish your opponent's stuff. Or if you just do that turn 1 and then make a Cheng Ying, it's just huge because you got 10 banished cards. It is very good in this deck. I definitely would suggest playing it. It doesn't actually hurt you as often as you'd think. There's not a ton of most of the cards that you would be worried about banishing all your copies of. You're playing at 3, so you 99% of the time won't banish all the stuff you want. So it's fairly risk-free in this deck because obviously so many 3-ofs. But it does feel weird sometimes, but it is very good, especially with your Cheng Ying. So that is the spells, and then we're just playing the 1 Blackout. I have debated playing multiples because sometimes it's nice to have another copy, especially for 1 to, if you like draw 1 and you'd like to just search a second one to like discard this for your long one, or just like, I don't know. There's a couple situations where it felt like a second Blackout would be nice, but one worked out just fine. It is super good interruption. Very good Chixiao search if you already have the Cheng Ying. I usually like to go Cheng Ying before Blackout, but if you've already got Cheng Ying, Blackout plus long one. Search long one with Chixiao to make Cheng Ying before searching the blackout. But if you've already got long wand to make Tenyi, blackout plus Tenyi is just a crazy interaction, because you get to target your Tenyi, and 2 of your opponent's cards, pop the 2 opponent's cards, Tenyi saves itself by banishing a worm from grave, and then Tenyi gets to trigger because it banished to banish another card. So you just get to out 3 cards and not lose any advantage for yourself. So it's super good card. And then onto the non-engine, I am playing 3 Ash Blossom, which still feels a little weird into the fire decks, but it is just very good against every other deck. And it is still decent against Snake Eye, just not as impactful. That's kind of why I'm still playing it, because it's just such... It's not bad against any deck. Every deck searches at least once, so it's always got something. 3 Nibiru. Yeah, it's just a good high-impact card versus any deck that can't put up a way to out it. Then we've got 3 Imperm. Imperm, really good for not turning on your opponent's talents or thrusts. Just simple spot negates. Pretty good against whatever. And then I'm playing 3 talents. Because this deck, it doesn't actually need that much non-engine, because the engine, if you're going second, you can just drop like 1 non-engine and have them build kind of a still decent board and that you can play through without it being a crazy board. And then if you're going first, talents can just rip a hand trap out or an engine card out of their hand, and then going second, it can just take opponent's cards, and then you can out the other opponent's cards, and just kind of, oftentimes you can just go for game if you steal with talents. So it's very nice to have. Plus, if they happen to hit, if you happen to just have like Moye and a worm and that's it, and you're trying to draw for like a long wand, if they stop your Moye, you can get your draw 2 off of talons. So that is the main deck. The extra deck, I'm playing 3 Qishao. I don't see 3 Qishao in most Swordsoul decks, but I mean, there's not that much you have to fit in here, so I figured a 3rd Qishao is nice to have in case it comes up if you get into a grind game. It's just super good. Search or banish, which is one reason that I'd like to play a second blackout, because certain hands, if you get certain points negated, you could banish a blackout to summon a token, which is neat. Like if you get one of your token summoning effects like Mohe negated, you could still get to another token. And then the negation is super good, especially synergizing with your Tenyi with banishing. Super good. Then we've got 2 Boxia. This gets into your Chao Fang line, but also is super good going second. This is one of your ways that you can just out a bunch of cards, because if you synchro summon it, you can bounce cards, or no, shuffle cards equal to the attributes of worms used for its summon, which if it's Moye, that's just 1. If it's Taya, it's 2, which is nice. You can just shuffle 2 cards into the deck, and then it can pop one of your cards to reborn 1, which does come up fairly often, especially if you're going for the Chao Fang line, because that's just a way to get to your Chao Fang without a normal summon with your Tenyis. Then we're playing 1 Draco Berserker. This is your worm synchro interruption that isn't Qishao, because if you get yourself worm locked, you like to have a second level 8 you can make. It can just, it doesn't negate, but it does banish monsters, uh, which does often help almost as much. It's not quite as good as Chi, but it's definitely useful, and it's good for breaking through boards with the gaining attack and double attack effect. And then if you happen to not get Wormlocked, we have the one Dragite, because Moya is a water, so if that's in your graveyard, this is just a spell trap negate. So against any deck that you think their spell traps are the more powerful things to stop, this is what you would want to go for probably. And I didn't do it at locals, but it's really funny if you use the first effect to look for rocks and you find Nibiru. So you just get to use that first effect and bounce a card because you found Nibiru off Dragite. Then we've got one Yazi. This really didn't come up, but it is nice to have. Really, the only time that I could see making it is if you've got Taya banish a Swordsoul spell, and then you reduce the level of Taya or the token, which definitely could come up in some grind games because you can do that, summon this, and then pop itself in an opponent's card, and then just summon a worm from deck. So you can just summon your Moye from deck and go into an 8 while getting a pop along the way. I didn't make it at all, but it is definitely something that you could make. And you've got the room, so you might as well play it. And then we've got one Chaofeng. Chaofeng again, didn't make it very often, but against someone that I knew was playing Nibiru, it was definitely useful if you draw that Tenyi engine. It is hard to go for Chaofeng if you don't draw the Tenyis, which is why you don't go for it as often, but it is super nice. And it's funny that if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, wait, what? Never mind. This is okay. It is funny that if this card gets destroyed, you can search a tuner. So you can just if they do out the Chaofeng, you can just search Ash Blossom, which is funny. So you can just, from a floodgate, you can just search a hand trap then. After that, we're playing then just the one Chengying. Chengying, crazy. Your best level 10 probably. Just gets massive for each of your banished cards. If you banish a card, you get to banish opponent's cards. And it saves itself by banishing cards, so it just triggers itself if your opponent tries to out it. So this is just super good. Best card with your blackout for sure. And just a super solid card. One Evil Long One. I do like Evil Long One a lot more than I think other people do, just because it is 2 interruptions versus 1. It doesn't always make an interruption with the spell traps because sometimes they just aren't playing continuous or field spells. But as long as you're playing someone that has a continuous or field spell, you can just banish that card, burn for 12. And this card is super nice for going into time because it is just exactly a time card. Burn for 12, burn for 12. After you made it with Long One, which already burned for 12. So it's just super useful. And if you can make this before if you can make it level 10 before level 8, you probably go for him so that you can make your 8 and draw a card off of that, draw into more non-engine or into more extenders. And then our last synchro, I am playing one Psychic End Punisher, which you can make with a Swordsoul token and a Tenyi, the level 7s, which this card just can, if you're going into kind of a grind game and you just need a way to end it quick, this is super easy to just, if you're lower, they can't touch it, and it just gets giant. It is just a game ender. I have lost to this card one too many times, so that's probably why I'm playing it more, just because I respect it that much, because it's just a super huge, annoying to deal with card, and it's nice to have, especially because there is flexibility in the extra deck. And then the last cards, we're playing 2 Monk for the Tenyis and 1 Shaman. Shaman did actually come up a couple times. It is annoying that she locks you into Tenyi effects from the extra deck, but it does definitely come up to discard Reborn a Worm and actually get a couple combos started if you get interrupted. Yeah, and then my couple Swordsoul tokens. For the side deck, I was playing 3 Droll, just solid against a lot of decks. Just another nice high impact card like Nibiru. Definitely nice to have, especially because I know at locals there's a couple of guys that like to play Flu a lot, and you drop this versus Flu, it's just over. Then Bell for any graveyard decks. Ghost Ogre for certain matchups where they really need certain cards to stay on board. This one is kind of more niche depending on, like, it changes how hard it hits on certain matchups. It can go against pretty much any deck, but certain decks it's definitely more powerful against. 3 Cosmics for back row decks. And then for my going second tech for this deck, because you have so many ways to out cards already going second, you just need a way for those to all resolve. So we've got triple Dark Ruler to just turn off their board and let us just play and go through all of our all of the ways to out all the cards, like the Vishudas and the Draco Berserkers and the Baxias, just all different ways to out the board. And if their board can't stop that, then that's just what you need, is a way to get into it. Because I debated Dark Ruler or Evenly, and I don't think you really need Evenly because you have so many ways to out the board already. And if you just Dark Ruler, then you can out the board with your own cards, and they definitely can't stop it, versus 1 Spell Trap Negate stops Evenly. So this is this is just the side deck then, and that should do it, I think. Again, that was Swordsoul, super fun deck. Again, got me first at locals, which was nice. But yeah, it's super fun deck. Nice that it can play through boards like it does. That's always something that annoys me about some other decks, that it's kind of hard to play into a board. But this deck is super nice with that. And I definitely suggest you try it out. So with that, I think that is it. This is Rogue Tier.